Hi, I'm Jennifer Ferguson, and I'm back to do some more playing around with my decorative rollers. And today I'm actually going to start working with the DIY paint and my rollers, so I can give you some more options and different things that you can do. Normally when I'm working with the DIY paints, I'm definitely doing some furniture projects, and those are just fun to do with a chalk style type paint. So when I get ready to work with them, we're definitely going to be working on smaller surfaces because we are working on furniture, and that way we can kind of get away with working with a chalk paint or any kind of paint, because paints are going to dry faster. They don't have a lot of open time or working time. So to help me even work on a larger surface, I am using the DIY paints with one of my, excuse me a second, one of my two different glazes here. So I have Proceed, which is our full-bodied glaze, and I also have Modern Masters, which is a wall glaze. Now either one of these will work fine on putting into the paints. I'm probably about maybe 25–30% glaze to 65–70% paint, whatever the ratio is. I think I got that wrong. But make sure you add the glaze, stir it in, and you're going to have so much more working time that you don't have to worry about putting the paint on and then it drying so fast that you have to feel like you got to rush and get your roller right through. So today I'm going to introduce you to some of the rollers that I already have in stock. Last week I actually was teasing you with a whole bunch of new rollers that are coming in, but today we're actually going to play with some that I already have. So to get started, I am going to first use the DIY paint, and this is Mermaid Tail, which is one of my favorite colors. Definitely I'm in a teal mood lately, so one of my favorite colors that they have. And I've already mixed in a tub here with putting in my glaze, and I used the Modern Masters wall glaze with this one, and already mixed the two together. So I am just going to scoop some of this out onto a plate so I can pick it up with a roller. And let's see what we got going here. Okay, that's what the aprons are for, wipe on me. Okay, so all I'm using is a little foam plate, a little foam roller, and just getting some of that paint onto the roller to start with. And I'm just going to roll it onto the surface. Now because I have the glaze in here, it's a little bit more liquid, so I'm rolling a little slower so I don't end up splattering it everywhere. And let's see if I can just get this up here on the surface. And you'll be amazed at, with the glaze in there, how much more time you have to play around and work with it before it starts to actually, set up on you and you can't get back there. So I'm not rushing because this is going to stay wet for a long enough for me to get a roller and start playing. So the first one I'm going to introduce you to is called Primrose, and Primrose is this big flower pattern on here, which is really cool. And so all I'm going to do is just roll right through it. And this is what it was referred to as like a negative process, where we're applying the paint glaze mixture to the wall and then removing it. Another technique that I've been playing around with is doing a positive application, where once you have the paint loaded onto the roller, then you can actually create a positive image. And let's make sure that the camera's set up. Okay, so this is just what I just rolled off of the surface, and I can roll it on. Now, the biggest trick of doing that, oh, you can't see that really well. Let me see if I can move this a little bit closer so that you can see how well that did come out, okay? Now I'm going to put this back and see if I can put my camera back in the right place. But the biggest trick for doing the positive application is trying to get the paint into some kind of surface area where all you are is picking it up on those high areas. So what I've done in the past is put down press and seal. Okay, I love press and seal. And I just lined like a cookie sheet or whatever you have handy and just brush on the paint, because that way you have this really thin amount of paint onto that surface and you can roll it right onto the roller and then create a positive application. And just to show you that, oops, let me find a place to put that dirty roller. This paint that I've got my glaze mixed into is going to stay wet for a while. You can see I'm just rolling right back through it, and I had no issue getting rid of that pattern. And again, that is definitely working with the paint and the glaze mixed together, not just straight paint. Okay, so I want to introduce you to another roller. This one is called Artsy Leaf pattern, and this one is really cool. Again, I'm just going to roll straight down. So as we're rolling through, the roller's picking up the paint and creating that negative impression. So this is a really cool way to do furniture, to do cabinetry. And when you're, like I said, when you're working with it, just go ahead and make sure you put some glaze in there to give you some really good open time to work with. And then you'll have fun working with the paint and not having to worry about it drying too fast. Okay, so I also want to show you the difference, and I'm just going to smear this a little bit so you can see that it is staying wet for a little while. And now I'm going to try another color and just kind of give you a little bit of insight of going directly into the paint without having any glaze mixed into it. And this time, okay, it looks like I am using sea glass. Again, it is DIY paint. And I'm going to roll this up. I'm just going to roll right over what I've already done. And if you guys have any questions as I'm working here, why don't you guys just talk to me and ask me, and I'll try to look at the screen and even look at some of your questions too. So I'm just rolling up the sea glass. And now this is just straight paint. So this is definitely going to be something that is going to dry much, much faster. And I'm going to try the Crocodile pattern, which this is everybody's favorite pattern, okay? And I'm just going to roll right through here, and this is going right through just wet paint straight out of the jar. I didn't add any of the glaze to it, so you can see how well it still really worked. The only thing is when you're working with the paints by themselves, you just have a little bit less time to make sure you got all your tools ready. So make sure you're getting your surface painted, make sure you have your roller handy and ready to go, and you're going to have to roll the paint on and then definitely get right back with it with your roller to get the pattern in. So one of the other things I wanted to again mention is anytime you are using the rollers, you got to make sure that they're rolling free, like really spinning on the heads. If they're not, this is my favorite thing. It's cooking spray by Pam, which you spray the metal bar. Okay, so all the rollers come off and there's a metal bar. So spray the bar and put it back in, and then you'll make sure that you're spinning free on those. Otherwise, they can do what's called a slide or a skip. So always make sure that the rollers are working really good. Okay, so I've introduced you to 3 different patterns, and let's keep going. I think I've got 2 more here I'd like to show you. And I see that I'm getting joined by a lot of people. About to see any questions. Hello, Colleen. How are you? Colleen is from Canada. She's one of my retailers up there. Winnipeg. Big shout out for you, Colleen. So if you're looking for my rollers up in Canada, you definitely want to check out my Find a Retailer on my website and find Colleen. And okay, so next roller is going to be, this is Simplicity pattern. And you can see I already was playing around with this one because it's got a little bit of paint on it. And here we go. So this pattern is just really cool, very open, loose, just kind of gives movement and a little bit of design, and just a fun one to work with. So that one was Simplicity. Oh, looks like I've got another retailer on here, Kathy. Kathy has her studio in Tucson. Hello. And let's see. Okay, I'm going to try one more. Now, I'm not going to play anymore with the one I did the Crocodile on because that one was straight paint. And if I go over here, yeah, that one's starting to dry already. So the area that I have the time to play with is the one where I've mixed in the glaze. So I hope you guys are having fun on learning how to use these rollers and finding out how simple and easy they are to work with. There's just so many different surfaces that you can do, and if you guys have checked out Faux Rollers, the group page that I have, you would definitely see that I've been posting one of my customers' projects. She's been using clay bisque, so she's been actually making plates and sending me some pictures. So make sure to check those out. Another surface to play with. Okay, so this one here is called the Python, and I hate to use that Python because it just really looks like a cool quilted fabric when you're done. And so here is this one. But another really cool, looks three-dimensional. So a couple of things about the rollers, just to kind of give you guys some good information, is all of them are 7 inches long, approximately 2 inches in diameter. They all come with the wonderful handles, so don't ask, it comes for free. And they all come off their the actual bar handles. I always make sure that I take them off of the handles for storage because when you're cleaning these, most likely you're going to get some water in them, and you want to keep your bars nice and new and not let them rust with all that water that gets into the actual rollers when you are cleaning them. Another thing, oh, see, I'm getting some really cool print on my hands here too. Another thing is when you're working on furniture, you don't have to worry so much about like a wall issue where you've got ceilings and corners and all that stuff to deal with. Furniture is great because you can definitely have the whole entire top of a table to work with or a dresser. You could take the drawer fronts out and work on those. And there's lots of different, sections that you can work on that don't give you any obstacles. A couple of things people have been asking, how do you get to the walls when you're working with these? And I know this is not so much the furniture part, but I'm still going to try to answer a couple of questions for you. One big thing is, if you haven't, check out my blog post. It's Studio J Renee, which is JRENEE.com. I've written a couple of great blogs, and one of them is all on the rollers and just telling you how to do all these areas that seem like they're more challenging. But the nice thing is most of the designs actually go all the way to the edge of the roller, so getting into a corner is not an issue. And if you are trying to get the pattern all the way up to a ceiling line, we will use what's called a wipeout tool, or I've even used the end of my paintbrush and used it and just actually carved the design, okay, and just kind of mimic it. Definitely some of my customers tell me they just don't care. They don't even try, or design the whole finish to where you are going up more random and not trying to do a complete repeat like this, and maybe not try, this particular pattern. The blog again. Okay, Sabrina, the blog is studiojrenee.com, and I will definitely post that up here on the video, so people will definitely get a chance to check it out, but there's all kinds of stuff in there. So there's a couple of things. I always suggest getting a couple of rollers because you might have to get your hacksaw out and cut one of these to fit into a smaller area, and they do cut really easily. I'd show you one, but I just shipped a bunch of stuff off for the General Finishes Expo at the end of the month, and the ones I've hacksawed were in the box that left today. And then also, once you hacksaw them in half, realize you can cut them this way too. And we have had some of our customers actually open them up and put them on a piece of wood and create a stamp. So a stamp would solve your problem for getting up against the ceiling line. Hello, April. Sabrina, you didn't know about cutting them? Come on. So those are a couple of the things that you can definitely do, but I'll have to admit, almost all my customers that I've talked to with their projects they've worked on have just confessed that they didn't really try to get all the way up to the ceiling line, or they designed the pattern or the whole finish to be a little bit more random. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed another little peek at some of the rollers and working with the DIY paints. Hello, April. It's been fun to come live with you guys and get a chance to just show you more about what they're all about and how easy they are to use. And if you guys have questions, please feel free to post. I will be good at getting on Facebook later and answering your questions. And once again, guys, thanks for joining me. Have a wonderful afternoon. Bye.